Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on 9:01 in the evening, Doofus After Dark for a Thursday. And Lori Arnold will be joining us shortly, currently making sure she gets her daily requirement of nutrition. And she'll be with us in just a little bit, and we'll get things started. We're going to have a lot of topics tonight, a lot of things to talk about, and we will get to that as soon as we do get her up here. I want to start out by saying a big, huge thank you to Mo, and I'll be thanking Mo throughout the evening. Stick around to find out why. Also, want to say thank you to Damnation Drive-In. They showed some love to the channel last night. Always have a tremendous amount of respect for that channel and the work that they do over there, the talent that they have, and I really want to see that channel grow. So, as I said, a big thank you to Mo, and Mo can witness this if necessary. I posted one of my Damnation Drive-In stickers at a gas station, at a prominent parking position at a gas station, east side of Indianapolis, evening, and I thought I had a video, a less than 1 minute video showing the posting, but it turns out that I did not do it right, and I do not have video evidence. So as we know, if there's no video, it didn't really happen. But Mo was there, and Mo saw it, and Mo can bear witness if need be to Mo, because I'm going to be to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway again tomorrow. It's the final day of practice. It's called Carb Day, and that is in reference to when cars had carburetors, and before they raced the 500 miles on Sunday, they had a final test of the engines, final carburetor adjustments on the race cars. So that's where Carb Day from. It's basically a 2-hour practice. A lot of it will be the last time to get an extended run in to see what your final gas mileage may be. It'll be the last pit stops, cars coming in at speed and with other cars around you. And that goes from, I think, 11 until 1. And then after that will be the pit stop competition, where the top 8 pit crews will compete until there is a winner. And it's always a fun event. And then the end day from, I think it's 4 to 6 is what is scheduled. There will be the Carb Day concert, another longtime tradition at Indy on Carb Day. And this year it's Soul Asylum opening up for Adams. Hello, Breeway. Thank you for being here. Thank all of you for being here, by the way. So, yes, I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway during at least some of those events. I don't know if we'll have major events on live, because it's going to stream, or if we'll do like 1 or 2. You just have to hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to watch. And again, thank you all for being here. Lori's going to be popping up here soon, I hope. We just talked a couple of minutes ago. I don't know, maybe. Hang on. Did I do something wrong here in my chat? Because it's frozen, it's not moving. All right, there we go. All right, there now. It just moved. Thank you again. I'm going to get things started here before we get, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. And get to the Hi, Sunshine. Before we get to the newsy kind of stuff, the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight, I just wanted to remind everybody of this. I don't know if you can we see it or not? All right, here we go. All right, this is the triangle of responsibility, unaccountability, and we see it all the time. Somebody creates a problem, then they blame somebody else for the problem, then they claim to be a victim, and it repeats. And when you notice that, happening, that should give you an idea that this is, somebody that's not going to be accountable. And we're getting to the point as a society where we don't have a whole lot of things left as far as what were once considered good qualities, morals, if you will. Just something to think about, as giving you things to think about. And we'll go ahead and start news, get that out of the way before Lori gets here. And then we'll come back because I think Lori will have some opinions on a couple of these things here. And keep in mind, Lori's in Texas, and there are storms always in Texas, and Lori's going to be on the phone. So all of those things may come into play. Here is, wait a minute. Here's what's going on breaking news wise from our mainstream media people. From NBC News, Oath Keepers founder was sentenced to 18 years in January 6th sedition conspiracy. From Reuters, Biden and McCarthy are to deal on U.S. debt ceiling as default deadline looms. The Washington Post, how the Supreme Court EPA's ruling will affect U.S. wetlands and clean water. CNN's attorney for an 11-year-old Mississippi boy shot by police say there's no way they mistook him for an adult. And we're going to play this in just a second. From the BBC News, Gabby Petito's family released burn after reading letter. And her boyfriend and assumed alleged killer had a letter in his backpack from his mother that she would help him dispose of the body and provide that. And please burn the letter after reading. CNN, Washington Post says Trump employees moved boxes out of Mar-a-Lago down into the basement the day before the DOJ went to Mar-a-Lago. So indeed, there had been allegations that all of those documents were out in plain view and even by selected members of the public that had access to money. So could be a lot more trouble than Trump's making it out to be. Again, as always, just something to think about. Now, I think I heard Lori pop in here. Attorney for the 11-year-old Mississippi boy shot by police say there's no could have been mistaken as an adult. And here's a picture of him. I'm not going to play the video, but here's a picture of the young man, 11-year-old, and I don't know. From that picture, it's hard to think that. No, we don't want to. What are we doing here? Here we go. There she is.
Hi, Barry.
Lori, how are you?
I'm doing good.
What have you been up to?
I've been working.
Beautiful day.
Look at this. Isn't this beautiful?
Look at that sunset behind you.
See, look at that.
It's incredible.
That's where I watch all the storms at, Barry.
Yeah. Have you been watching some storm chasing videos and stuff? Are you learning some things?
I am. I ended up coming somewhere where there's a lot of storms, a lot of big ones, hail and
Yeah,
tornadoes. Been driving
yeah.
around, seeing a lot of different stuff. We've been trying. Well, we've been caught in a couple, and we've been trying to find some storms around here too.
Well, just wait; they'll come to you. You don't need to go.
That they have been.
Yeah. Um, so let's start out with the leader of the Oath Keepers getting charged with conspiracy to commit sedition and basically attempting to, um, according to the court records, there was a plot to keep Trump in power, and he was deemed a severe to our democracy. How do you look at that?
I don't know him. I really have not kept up with any. I really seriously have not kept up with all these trials, and I've been busy.
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
really I've been protesting
I
against the Freedom Corner, which is the J6 thing, but that's for different reasons than all that. I haven't been paying attention to the actual prisoners inside there or following any of it. But I did see
okay.
that
The
happened.
okay, the title of the episode tonight is not everyone that was at J6 is an insurrectionist, and not
Right.
all insurrection J6. Okay. So this story kind of fell right in, to what we had planned to talk about. Um,
Yeah, I agree, Barry, because well, it's a subject that's really hard for people to talk about too, because people have like you said, everybody has very strong feelings. Some people feel like everybody that is even slightly involved with J6 is an insurrectionist, and then there's people who feel very strongly that all J6ers are innocent and should be, and it's hard to have a conversation if you're not one of those two extremes.
right. And that's why we need to have that conversation so that others will see that it needs to be done, in my opinion.
Yes.
You know, that two people can have that conversation coming from basically kind of different political spectrums, if you will. Um,
Yeah, I've actually had people through what I've been my protests recently, because I've been able to actually talk to a lot of people who are of different political beliefs than my own. And I've had people tell me, because I always full transparency, I was at J6, and I've had
mhm.
people tell me, Lori, love you, girl, love what you're doing, but if you did anything wrong at J6, I hope you go to jail. And I was like, okay, I love you too. And if I did something that deserves jail at J6, then I should go to jail. You know, um,
Mhm.
I should be held accountable for that if I did. You know, so
But just for those that may not have ever heard it, give of what you did on J6 on
yeah.
January 6th,
Well,
2020.
I went it was the Trump rally, or whatever you want to call it. I maybe rally is the wrong word, but I went to this Trump event in DC. And so I went there with a group of people. They were actually mostly elderly people. Um, and I decided that day to just kind of go on my own. And so I separated from them. And something that most people don't realize about that day is that our phones didn't work at the Trump rally. All the phones had been turned off, so you couldn't text anybody. So once you lost your group, you were gone unless you could meet them somewhere a
Did they
planned.
did they use blockers, or
Barry, it must have been.
how were you weren't
It
able to
must have been.
communicate by cell phone?
You couldn't
But I
text
but
or
there
anything.
but I bet you there were certain people that were able to.
I've been wondering that myself because
Yeah.
I keep hearing people who say that they had like their signals and stuff. And I'm like, how the heck are they even communicating to each other? Texting, because the rest of us couldn't text. And that's part of my story because,
I don't know if I've ever heard that before.
yeah, after the Trump,
That
go ahead.
no, just that the fact that you weren't able to communicate through your phones.
All day, not all day.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just little things like that that I think people just don't realize. And that's something that's important because that affects, like I said, if you
Yeah.
lost somebody, you were lost, you know? And
Mm-hmm.
after the whole thing was over and we all know Trump said go down, you know, to the Capitol, I stuck around. I just stuck around there where I was because it sounds silly, but there was a guy.
That was on the ellipse, right?
Yeah, I
That
was actually right outside of there. There was a big
right,
screen or whatever. Yeah.
right.
Well, I had seen a guy in a
Okay, so
Batman
you stuck
costume.
around there when the crowd moved to the Capitol.
Yes. That the whole walk down or whatever, I stayed.
Uh-huh.
And I started walking the
Okay.
opposite direction because I saw a guy in a Batman costume and I wanted to take a picture. So
Yeah.
yeah, because like it wasn't an angry day. I wasn't angry. It was
Yeah.
like a rally or whatever, and but anyway, so people started moving out of the area, and I ended up walking where the oh, what is it called, I always forget what it's called, the big tall um
The Washington Monument.
the monument, because that had
Yeah.
all been filled where the grass is, that had all been filled with people, so the people had started to move out, and I was looking and I remember noticing that there wasn't very much trash. There was maybe a couple little things that I saw fly by, and I was thinking about that and looking around, and I saw a girl there who was with these two men, and I said hi to them and found out that she had lost her group and she was all by herself. And these two men were going to be escorting her back to their hotel room so she could uh, use a phone and get a hold of her group to come pick her up. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. And so I thought, I'm here by myself. I'll hang around and just walk with them and make sure that nothing bad happens at that hotel, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so as I walked down there, I saw fire trucks. I saw all kinds of sirens. I didn't know what was going on until I got back to that hotel and I saw what was going on down. I mean, I didn't really know. We didn't know what was going on. We just saw on the news a big commotion. And so I said, well, I came all the way to DC. I'm going to go back down there and at least film if I can. Cause you couldn't text, but you could use your recording devices. And I thought, well, I'm going to go see what's going on. So I did go down and I did end up protesting. So, but I saw things there, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail right now, but I saw things there that I do not approve of. I saw violence. I just, there were some things there that I did not approve of. And I think that people did some very bad things and that they should be punished for that, especially if anybody hitting on police officers or violent towards anybody. That's a big deal to me, because I do believe in protesting, but I believe in protesting peacefully. And I'm okay with, breaking a noise ordinance somewhere, or just silly little things like that, to use my bullhorn maybe, or something like that. But there's some things that are past a line that nobody's supposed to do, and that's one of them. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my
I agree.
short version of my story.
Okay. All right. So you never went into the Capitol. How close did you
No, I
get
had a
to
good
the
idea that
Capitol?
was probably not allowed.
Yeah. Were you up near the building? Were you back down at the base of the stairs. Where did you end up? How close did you get?
I ended up no, I was pretty close. I was on the Capitol grounds. I was like on the
Uh-huh.
grass or whatever. And so I was able to see I actually went up and I was able to see, like I said, I was able to see some of that stuff that I do not I was able to see some of where people, we've all seen the videos of
Hmm.
where I can't think of, I'm not very good at knowing which side I was even on, but people, I saw like police officers inside a tunnel, like the kind, it wasn't a door but it was like a entranceway, and I
Yeah.
saw people who were going over the crowd and like throwing stuff at police officers and things like that. And that was confusing to me at the time. I couldn't understand why, because I didn't know what had already gone on. I came in on it, and I was protesting, so I didn't really know exactly what was going on. I hadn't known
Right.
that people had already been in there and that they were trying to go back in. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I know that concerned me. Um, I saw some things from both. I saw things that the police did that I didn't like too. Like I saw a lot of elderly people there. I didn't see a lot of people who were they were angry, but they weren't trying to overthrow. They were grandmas and grandpas. I saw. I actually helped a little
You're
older
talking
lady.
about those. You're talking about those that stayed outside. That you
Yes.
saw that stayed outside, not the
Yeah.
ones that went inside. Okay. All right. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make.
No. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were just people who were fed up and were voicing how they felt, and they didn't want to hurt anybody. You know. Um. But that's not everybody there. But that is
Right.
a lot of the people that were there. There's
And
always
and
bad
the,
actors.
and you've I've reached out to Pam to see if
Oh
she
yes.
would come on the show. Um, in case she doesn't want to, I still want to try to draw attention to her Twitter space. Would you talk about her a little bit?
Yeah. So I found out about Freedom Corner just because of my whole protesting against the 76ers that had joined up with that. Well, I thought that I was all alone because I have been feeling pretty alone anyway. I'm one of those weirdo J6ers that's going against the J6 vigil, right? Um but I have found that there are other people who are J6ers who are speaking up against some of the bad actors from the right, bad actors, bad people who did bad things and are still maybe doing bad things. Um and so I saw this woman and her name is Pam. And I really was interested because the people down at Freedom Corner didn't like her. So I've been going in. There's something new on Twitter I discovered where there's spaces that people can make where you can have conversations. Different people can talk. You can just listen. I've been listening. I'm digesting because I want to hear. I like to hear from everybody, and I like to hear different sides. And definitely, I want to hear from somebody who's been really looking into all this and maybe has more facts than I do. Because, like I said, Barry, I have not been following all the people who have been arrested and all that. I've been really into what I've been doing with my protesting and my
Right.
activism. So, but
And
I really no,
what's
I was gonna say
Pam's channel? What's her Twitter channel?
oh gosh
What's
darn it.
Pam's Twitter channel?
Maybe somebody could post it because I'll have to look it up. I'm not sure. I'll have to put it on there. Uh,
Okay. All right.
but
It'll be in a comment or something. You'll post it up
yeah,
somewhere
because it's an
in
interesting space, Barry.
a
Because
comment after we're done. Yeah, the spaces. Well, that's where I was getting all of my. That's where I was getting all of my intel during Ukraine, Russia,
mm,
the buildup, and how I knew where things were and what was going to be happening, and that's how I still get. Even though I'm not sharing a lot of the stuff I'm privy to anymore. Um, I will say, for those that are concerned about world events, keep an eye on Israel. Um, Israel may unilaterally strike against Iran. Iran's got some bunkers under the ground that they've been putting. Um, Actually, I've got to hang on a second. They've been putting um, nuclear bombs together, basically, and they successfully launched a ballistic missile capable of evading radar and traveling thousands of miles. So Iran, there, I didn't want to play that. So Israel is saying that they may strike on their own to try to take out Iran's nuclear capabilities. The United States supports um, Israel in whatever it does, but it's not going to be part of a strike, allegedly. So, why I bring all this up is because if Israel strikes Iran, then Iran's allies are Russia and Turkey, as well as a lot of the um, radical groups, Hezbollah, etc. Israel could be in for a whole bunch of attacks, um, which will trigger a whole bunch of things, including religiously. So there's a lot going on in our world.
Oh, there
And
is.
yeah, and I just wanted to get that part out
Yeah, and
before
I
we
want
get.
to I want to mention one more thing about Pam. I don't know who
Yeah,
she really is. I've just been listening in on her space, so I'm not trying to talk about her, but I want people to know. It's important to know that she was convicted. Because if I'm right, I think I'm right in saying that she went into the Capitol building, and from what I heard of her story, and so she was convicted. She did serve some time. I don't have the specifics, but she is now speaking about taking accountability for her actions of what she did, and so that's kind of where she comes from with her space. And the space. Another reason I like that space is that it's not an echo chamber. I see people who I see all over that are. Whether it's they're anti J6 or they are uh, the people who call them insurrectionists, or you know they are in there too, and they're getting a voice. And so I've been listening to what everybody's been saying in there, and that's how I work, though. I try to listen to both sides and then try to form an opinion.
it's rare. It's that's I think that's why you and I get along so well, is because we both do that. And not a lot of people do that anymore. And you know it's not even sides anymore. It's more like little clicks, and if you don't 100% believe everything that this one little clique believes, then you're out of the clique and you got to go find another clique. And it's just another way of keeping us all divided, and not in any way, shape, or form focused on what's actually going on. I, yeah, I've got a book over your shoulder. I got a book over my shoulder. And in the beginning of the book, I talk about how easy it would be, and how simple of a plan it actually would be, and how easy it would be to actually topple, um, get get us back, that we don't need a constitution anymore. As long as you turn our TVs back on, as long as we have food, we'll do whatever you want us to do. Um, Kind of mentality, that there are powers that be that really want us in those situations, in my opinion.
Yes. Yes, and I've played into it myself, I mean, like we all kind of we progress, we grow, we learn, and it doesn't mean everything that I've ever believed has changed, but there are things that I've, steered course a little and changed my mind on as I hear other people's views or get different facts or whatever.
Hmm.
But one thing I was really surprised about, Barry, was um, I started reading your book, and
I'm really surprised about that.
I'm not big on
Thank
reading, so
you.
that's really an
Thank
honor that I
you.
started reading.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
I was surprised by it because I'm like, wait,
Good.
I agree with this stuff. Like I could tell, even though it's a novel, you can kind of tell by your story, where you're going with it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I agree a lot with this guy. How is it that we're on different sides of the spectrum almost,
Maybe
I'm
that's something we need to talk about next Thursday,
I'm thinking
you
about
know?
doing some lives, if you don't mind. At least one, maybe put it into two, because it's not a big book to read. I thought about doing a couple lives where I read the book so people can listen
Cool.
to your
Read
book.
it out loud to people like an
Yeah,
Audible book.
yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead. I've delayed putting it out as an Audible book because I didn't know if so this will be a good it'll be a good sample to
Hmm.
see if people like the story and if so then I'll put it out in an Audible book and you can do the female voices when I record it.
I really I don't know how you write, Barry. How do you actually get inspired to write a novel like that?
I've written I've got 3 of them out. I've got the one you this one back here is the first of a 3-part series, and I've got the second part almost all the way done. The second part's called America. Obviously, this is America, land of the greed, home of the grave. A takeoff on land of the free, home of the brave. The second one is America, spirits of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Mm.
It's based on the ghosts who inhabit um, the White House, whose address is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. So it takes some of the characters from this book and suddenly puts them into like almost a horror story, kind of a horror story. And I've got another horror story called 13 Rooms. Um,
Oh,
Yeah, and I wrote 13 screenplays. Almost had one published, and then the economy collapsed in 2008. Um, I write. I write all the time. I write little tiny 30-second skits
well,
and record them for Damnation Drive-In. I write. I mean, that's what I do. I can't help it.
yeah, I like to make up stories, but I'm not very good at writing. The writing part is putting it into
Well,
written form.
okay, we need to co-write together then sometime. We'll try to co-write a story, see how it
I
goes.
thought it would be fun to write a kid's book.
I do a kids book too. I wrote my kids about 2 talking horses named after the 2 girls, Kelly Colt and Stefanini. Yeah,
I thought it
so
would be cool to do one. And I like it for kids books, kind of like a Calvin and Hobbes, where there's an animal and a like a little girl or a little
mhm.
boy, whatever, a little
Yeah, those
person.
always work. Yeah. Winnie
Yeah.
the Pooh and Christopher Robin, those stories. Yeah.
Only my thing was more like a little protester, because I'm a protester, teaching little kids how to use their voice. Stand up for what they believe in.
You may be surprised how that might sell. You need to don't tell anybody else about that other than the people that just saw this.
Yeah.
And that's an idea. That's serious. That's an idea.
I just need somebody who knows how to make the figures, because I'm not very good at drawing either.
Oh, no problem. You can, yeah, you'll find somebody. You'll get volunteers to illustrate it. They're probably emailing you right now. What's your email?
Lori, it's my name, Lori Arnold, LoriArnold 95 at gmail.com.
LoriArnold gmail.com.
Yeah. Oh, and I got so many ideas now because, like, Calvin and Hobbes, I could have a little unicorn. Oh, I got all kinds of little ideas. Oh.
Little zombie unicorn. Not zombie, but voodoo.
Voodoo. Maybe
No.
voodoo unicorns might be a little bit too harsh for
Yeah, a
children.
little dark for a kid's book. Yeah. Do you have your Damnation Drive-In t-shirt on?
I do.
You do.
Yes,
Team
of
Damnation.
course.
Shirt people. Okay, so far we're the only documented shirt people.
There we go.
We
Yeah.
need to see it. You look good.
Thank you. Yeah, just for
You know
anybody
that.
who hasn't seen them yet, I'm going to show you the back. Let's see if it gets in there.
Yeah, spin around.
Aren't they cute? Can you see it?
Yes. Yeah,
Isn't that
yes.
neat?
Yeah. It fits you well.
I was worried that it might be too small, but it's not. It fits perfect.
Yeah.
I did have a couple things. Oh,
What?
I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, I had a couple things. I'm in Texas, so I've been getting on my news feed. I've been starting to pay attention to stuff that's happening in Texas. And there are a couple things that I think really affect all of us in a way. Yes, thank you.
Is this one of them?
Yes. It's the Texas bill that it's SB 1515. And it requires the 10 commandments to be displayed in and I'm going to use the quotes, a conspicuous place in each school classroom. And this is for like the elementary, I think, at least the elementary kids. And it has to be legible to a person of average vision. So they want them in prominent places. And they want the 10 commandments to be put into every schoolroom. Everyone would have to have that.
And they want to allow chaplains to act as school counselors.
Yes, that was another thing that I saw.
Is another part of it. Okay. Just to get that out there. All right, so go ahead, talk about that.
Well, I think that that's going to affect. Obviously, I think that's unconstitutional. I think that the separation of church and state is a big deal. And
it is a big deal. It's a major big deal.
Yes, and I have worked with, and I still talk with and talk to people who are from the side who are very religious. A lot of them are religious or Christians, and they work with the schools, and they're from, like I said, from that right perspective. And I see a lot of those people who don't have a problem with this. And I've gotten kickback from that community for saying that I don't agree with this. But what I try to tell them is, look at it as if, what if this was the satanic code, or it was the Quran, or it was, something that it's not your religion. When it's not your religion, you don't want it in there being pushed on you either, or your children.
Right.
So
right.
That's kind of how the rest of us feel about the 10 commandments. It's not that the 10 commandments are bad. It's that they're religious texts that don't belong in a public school.
Absolutely. Public school, public buildings, buildings funded by governments.
And these same people, Barry, are
and believe me, I have nothing against the 10 commandments. Everybody knows that. That's not what it's about. It's about keeping our government separate from any and all religions, in my opinion, and in constitutional scholars' opinions.
It's an interesting dilemma, that we're in right now as a country, because with this situation right here, because in Indiana, back home where I'm from, um
Yeah, I'm here too.
we have oh yeah, we have Satan clubs coming up into school now.
Yeah,
And that really has people very upset.
yeah.
But
If
in
you're going
my
to do one, you got to do the other.
yes, and we've even had, at not even in the schools, but in our city buildings, where they put up, I think it was a couple years ago, they put up a Christmas display, and the some other local people said, if you're going to do that, you have to put our tree up too, which is it was what I would call a diversity tree. So it had all different religions. It had Hanukkah. It had everything on it. And what they were trying, I think the point was to say, if you put one, you have to put all. This is
Hmm.
not a space. They're pushing it. I see they're pushing this. I don't think we really have a bunch of devil worshippers trying to get our
No,
children to
no,
worship Satan after school.
no,
I think what they're
no.
doing is they're using that, they're taking that because it's a point to be made.
Right. It's just like it's just like damnation. Anybody that's not in this, we're in this little raindrop of a community compared to the giant ocean of the world. We're in this little raindrop of a community, and anybody that is not in the 1776 RM faction of this little raindrop is considered demonic because they are the only true real Christians, right?
Right.
Everybody else are demons. I mean, that they call everybody that.
I've
All
been
right.
called a
Does that
demon.
Well, yes, of course you have. Does that mean does that mean there are demons in Damnation Drive-In? It's an entertainment show. They are cartoons, and they actually educate people. Maybe not so much with the bud. At the same time, it still showed the underlying racism, the early 1970s. But anyway, that's beside the point. Um, it is pushing not Christianity because it's nothing about, well, you got to study the Bible, you got to learn what Christianity is. It's pushing a Christian identity. Just all you got to do is identify as Christian and you'll be accepted. It's pushing an identity to create a voting bloc, a political force, a potential um, upper class, if you will, to the inhuman. Anyone that is not in that group will be inhuman. Already, animals. That's how they justified slavery. The idea of going back to those times makes a lot of white men my age salivate. They want that power back. And it's all playing out right in front of us. We should not be caught up in little petty arguments amongst each other. We need to start realizing that there might be a bigger enemy, and that enemy may have a lot more money, but they don't have anywhere near the potential people power if we ever got united and focused in a proper direction, in my opinion.
And that there's so many, like, all these issues that we're dealing with as a society and stuff, they need to be dealt with.
Yes.
Yeah, they need to be dealt with. And
Yes.
we need people in the streets. We need people voicing. We need people, talking to politics. We need
We
this to
need we
happen.
need we need a government that doesn't just constantly kick things down the road, that
Yes.
one side is all about just, not being accountable, blame, 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 and the other side thinks they're so elitist and intelligent that no one in the actual citizenry would ever understand. So there's no use even talking to those people. All right.
Mm.
Both sides. It really is. It's both sides. Maybe one side's a little better than the other at in some issues, but it depends on where you're at. We
It's
got to
come
all
down to
realize holding our
it's
government
come down to
accountable at some point.
it comes
What?
down to you're either a communist or you're a Nazi.
I'm neither one.
Which one
Okay,
are you?
yeah, that's what. Yeah, what are you, a commie?
No.
I'm neither one. I'm a human, and
Yeah.
and I get angry about seeing inhumanity, no matter who's doing it, the communist or the Nazi. I don't want either one of them. I want common sense government for a very diverse country, and giving choice between two people that are both 20 years older than me and both antiquated in their thinking and both just up there because of power. Um, we need to do better as a country. We need to demand some political reform.
Yeah.
All of us. I'm sorry.
No,
This
no,
is
I
we're
agree with you. No, you're absolutely right, Doofus. Because I think we use those terms now a lot of times because there are real Nazis, there are real, I'm not trying to
yeah,
discount that, but what I'm saying is
right.
those terms sometimes get used as that way of dehumanizing somebody to make them
Absolutely.
so that but we'll respect humanity except for you. You
Right.
don't deserve it, so screw you.
Right.
But one thing I've learned through talking with all the wonderful people that I've been able to talk to from both sides is I think that something that I didn't understand before. The right has this thought that they're the ones that love America, and everybody else, the left, is very anti-America. And something that I've kind of come to terms with in my own self is that realizing that no, we all love America.
Yeah.
We just have different visions of what we want America to look like.
Right.
It doesn't mean that one side is pro America. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
most of us,
Hijacking patriotism.
yes, yes, yes. And I was guilty of doing it.
Hmm.
We're the patriots. We're the ones that love this country, and the other side, they're just anti-America. And I fell into that. And then I realized that the more that I talk to people, and again, it's talking, I was able to talk with in more civil conversation, and really talk to people. Um, but that's not true. We all love America. We just have different ideas of what we want her to look like. And she's changing right now. This is growing pains, I think.
Yeah, it is one way or the other. It's either growing pains or it is um, we're going to regress, and with regression is going to come suppression and depression, and we are either going to progress or we are going to go backwards, and there are so many people scared that
Hmm.
you know um anyway.
No, I
The
agree.
other thing
Oh,
uh,
go ahead.
the other thing you want well the other thing you wanted to talk about as was happening in Texas. um
Yep, one more. Hmm.
okay, this kind of ties into it. This was announced. The Illinois Attorney General announced on Tuesday, 2 days ago, that the state of Illinois has corroborated more than 1,900 victims' child sex abuse claims against Catholic clergy in Illinois. Cases go back to 1950 and feature hundreds of abusers who were not previously reported. Um, I bring this up because your one of the things you wanted to talk about was a statue.
Yes. So the other thing that I noticed, it caught my attention, was that and let me make sure I got this right here. I want to get the name. The Senate Continuing Resolution 24 has already been.
This is tech.
Yes, Texas Senate. It's already
Okay.
been passed through the Senate, and it's at the House right now. And this is a little worrying too, because what it does is it's something that will put a statue, a pro-life statue that has the origins with the Catholic Church. It's actually, I mean, I'm kind of reading off my notes. It's the original
Mm-hmm.
sculpture that this artist is copying is was at the Church of San Marcello a Corso, and I probably butchered the name, sorry, but it's in Rome, and it's a depiction of Mary and Jesus. And they want to put that at the state capitol, the Texas state capitol, and have it out there. And it's a pro-life, and it's a Catholic. It's a religious sculpture. I'm against
And
that
once
one
again,
too.
we get back to, yeah, well, that's another. I'm not against Jesus in any way, shape, or
No.
form. Praise be, and I'm not Catholic either. That people ask me about that. Are you Catholic? The way you bless people? No, it's not. It's anyway. Uh,
There's nothing wrong with being Catholic.
Catholics, they use two fingers.
There's nothing
Was
wrong
one
with
of the
being
put us
Catholic.
in. Anyway, no,
There's
there's
nothing
nothing
wrong.
wrong with being Catholic. There's nothing wrong with any kind of, have your religion, have your. It's all, to me. It's all about relationship, and that's relationship with your higher being, relationship with other humanoids, and you should focus on relationships, not religion, in my opinion. But I digress. It basically comes back down to, once again, we've got to keep the government separate and all religions,
For sure.
in my
It,
opinion.
what always kind of caught my attention was that I like to point out hypocrisies, and so I noticed them. And one thing that I noticed
Yes.
was that the same people who want to put the 10 commandments in every classroom want to make sure that there are no BLM flags, no gay flags, no. Okay, so they're wanting to keep stuff out of the classrooms, but they want to insert theirs into the classroom. And my thing is, everybody just let's settle down in the classroom and
Let
teach the kids
leave them
reading,
kids
writing,
alone.
arithmetic. I mean, because
Leave them
like
kids
back home,
alone.
yes, back home though, Barry, that was kind of the thing that I really noticed back home was that our kids, the reading, the writing, the arithmetic, the math rates of success in that are low when you actually go and look at them. At least in my area, at the school that I was in, and yet,
Not only in Indiana, but in the whole United States on a world level, we're incredibly low in
yeah.
educating. We're dumbing people down. It just, because it makes it easier. You can control the population through fear. You can control the population by keeping them divided. You can control the population. And if none of those work, you have to control by violence. And there's too many of us for that, and work good enough that, anyway,
You missed a
you're
big
getting
one.
so.
You missed a big one.
Which one?
Religion. Religion is
Yes.
something. Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
that's,
from the
well, that's the
beginning of
one.
time that
That's the
people
one we
just
were talking about. So yeah, I didn't
yeah.
include that because we were just talking about it. But absolutely, yes, no doubt, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
let's get two more things in here real quick. This one, um, Trump's lawyers warn him, get ready to be indicted by the feds. And this comes from Rolling Stone magazine 8 hours ago. Um, my concern is when that, because I believe it is going to happen, that will set off um, that will set off the diehard Trump supporters into violence when he gets indicted. Are you at all concerned about that?
No, I'm sorry. I don't
Okay,
share your concern as much.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
think
the
that
final
everybody's so scared from January 6th, and they saw how that got they just saw how that was treated, and I think that they don't want to do anything. I don't think that kind of stuff is coming up, Barry, but that's me. That's
Good.
just my own
Okay.
personal.
All right. Because my concern was Trump's going to get indicted soon. This guy just got 18 years today. And because the and things up here, the title was Not All That Were at J6 Are Insurrectionists, and not all insurrectionists were at J6. So my concern is some of the people see that, okay, this guy's got 18 years. I'm not going to serve 18 years. I'm going to make my stand, and I'll do by myself right now. And you don't think
as a group, no. There may be some Barry, there's always crazy people out there that will do crazy things.
Of course, Lone Wolf, but I'm talking more to think. Comes down from the chat and everybody goes, yeah, let's go. Okay, cool. I hope you're right. I really do. Now,
I hope so too.
The final thing, you pointed this out to me earlier today. Let me see if I can get it. Nope. Hold on. News to share. Ron DeSantis announced as he's running for president. And Ford Fisher, a friend of the show, no one wants DeSantis. Both leftists and pro-Trump protesters gathered in Miami Wednesday to rally against Ron DeSantis running for president. Quote, the Trumpers don't want DeSantis. The leftists don't want DeSantis. The socialists don't want DeSantis, one progressive speaker said. The immigrants don't want DeSantis. The black people don't want DeSantis. The gay children don't want this. I'll run. I'm not going to. Let me see. Make sure I keep the volume down. I'm going to run a little bit of this video and see. Get it. Okay. Quick comment on this before we run out of light and have to say goodnight to this.
Well, that was an interesting one, wasn't it? Because you had. This is really interesting to me because I'm an ex-Trump supporter. So, it was really cool, weird. I say cool, but weird to see. You had blacks for Trump. There were about maybe a dozen of them or something like that. From what I saw, right. Surrounded. Then you had what I would just consider, I don't know.
And they were all kind of cordoned off by themselves away from the others.
Yeah, the two groups weren't joining together in solidarity.
Yeah, I just because I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just want to. And this Be Gay, Do Crimes. What is that about?
I don't know that one.
Anyway,
I'd have to know more about it to actually understand that one.
I've never seen someone announcing for president getting protested before. That's a brand new one. I had never seen
a president in my lifetime. I had never seen a president who had been all the stuff, the hoopla that Trump got. Like, I was a part of some of those. We were doing little convoys and Trump rallies and that kind of stuff. I'd never seen that for a president before either. Has it happened?
But it's like old fashioned. It's not how it's done anymore, but it worked for him.
It did.
Clearly. Yeah, at least in 2016.
I was predicting that Ron DeSantis would run. Quite a while back. I figured he was going to make a presidential run eventually. But I got to admit, I was a little surprised by the people who coming out against him so strongly. The Trump supporters, the core, like really diehard Qs and everything that are, Boy,
Yeah.
yeah, they're actually protesting against him. This is not the first protest I've seen against DeSantis. I saw
Oh,
some lady.
yeah, they were
Yeah,
protesting before he officially declared, but I've just never seen anybody, protest somebody announcing they're going to run for office. So,
it kind of
uh,
surprises me, honestly. I'm surprised that people want Trump back in, even if they
yeah.
like him. I don't know why anybody from the right would want him in anymore. To me, I would think for the right that especially the more far right that DeSantis would be the perfect choice. He's not as he's not going to be tweeting at friggin' 5 a.m. The second he wakes up, making nasty tweets and stuff like that. He's got a little better way of being able to deal with. He's like Trump with a lot of the stuff, but he's different in that he's more easy to digest, maybe. And I'll be honest, I
Okay.
don't care.
We'll talk about
There's no way. Um, I was just gonna say, this is just my opinion, but the whole thing with Trump, that's over and done with. And I think that he has made so many uh, enemies, and just the way that he's acted and stuff and different things, that I don't know how he could ever get anything done, because our government isn't working together and is so divided already. If we put him back in, we're just asking for another 4 years of the hell that we had with when he was in, where and I say hell as in the politicians
not the
couldn't
fun
even sit down and
damnation
talk.
driving kind of hell, but yeah,
The
yeah.
politicians, they won't even sit down and talk with him, and you know what I mean? Like, it was so contentious.
All
I'd like to
right.
get.
We'll pick this up next Thursday. Next Thursday we'll um, talk about the people running for president. We'll talk about what it means to be Republican, Democrat, why we only have two. We'll talk about those kind of things
Okay.
next Thursday. Okay.
Okay, it was nice. Thank you for having me on, Barry.
Oh, hey, Thursday, and we'll keep
Yep.
doing it the way we done it. We'll get together and we'll talk about what we want to show and stuff and what we want to talk about. Thanks for coming on.
Yep. Peace.
All right. Mwah. Love you.
Bye.
Peace. Lori Arnold, everybody. The one and only. We'll have her back next Thursday night. Point attention to the scroll here real quick at the bottom, because I'm going to be live. I don't know if I'll be live. I don't know if I'll be back here in studio. I'm going to be out on the road in real life tomorrow, starting sometime tomorrow morning. It depends how things work out. So I want to point this out. My top 6 picks. Okay. What I did, I took $5 and bet on these 5 drivers: Scott Dixon, Rinus VeeKay, Santonci, Takuma Sato, Alexander Rossi, and I put $5 on long shot Marco Andretti, which a $5 bet, if Marco wins the race, would pay $250. So that's why. And Andretti has been in almost every Indianapolis 500 since 1961. And the only time Andretti has ever won the 500 was in 1961 when Mario did win. His son, Michael, never won a race. I was work scoring and timing for Michael, by the way. And Michael's son, Marco, has never, and the Indy 500 kind of works that way at times. It kind of picks the winner instead of you winning the race. The race lets you win it, is how some of the drivers talk about it. So those are my picks for Sunday: Scott Dixon, Rinus VeeKay, Santonio Ferrucci, Takuma Sato Taco. He's and Alexander Rossi. These are all of these guys. Dixon's an incredibly smart race driver. The others are just um, balls to the wall, and there's a really hard wall all the way around Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Thanks to Mo there tomorrow. I traded Mo. Mo gave me a ticket to Carb Day, and I gave Mo 3 of my Damnation Drive-In stickers. So and I'm taking a couple with me tomorrow. So we're going to have Damnation Drive stickers at the Indianapolis 500 on Sunday. They won't go around and take them off before then. So they'll be out there for the race. They'll be out there for Carb Day. And I'll be out there for Carb Day as well. So hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell so you'll know when we're on. It'll be sometime in the morning. I don't know, again, if I'm going to do like an 8-hour live and cover the whole day, if I'll break it up, if I'll just do practice and a little bit of a wrap up. It all depends. So hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. We're going to be doing a lot more in real life things. And thank you so much for clicking on here. Thank you for joining Lori and myself tonight. And I will see you tomorrow morning at some point from the home of the greatest spectacle in racing, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Until that time, I will say unto each and every one of you, blessings be upon you from the Most High, from His Son and the Holy Spirit. Namaste, shalom, awesome, alaikum, and peace, positive vibrations, much love, live long and prosper. Don't be toxic. Enough toxicity in the world. And don't elevate roaches above roach level, and don't lower yourself to roach level. Just something to think about at the end. I love y'all.